Welcome back to Boom and Bust. We're here with our monthly panel. Gary Marr, I had to cut you off there. Please continue with your thoughts on the budget. And I also want you to comment, and then we'll take it around the room a little bit too. But Joe Oliver made a comment about our long-term prospects for growth, and that OECD chart is actually found in the budget, which has Canada 21st out of 21 countries in terms of prospects for growth. And I want everybody's, including yours, Gary, your comment on whether this budget does, in fact, promote growth. Gary, the floor is yours.
Well, there's a number of priorities, as I said, 8 or 9 priorities, and 9 if you include revenue as a priority. Some of these things are estimable goals. I mean, I look at the program for carbon capture, utilization, and storage, the Canada Growth Fund, a new innovation agency. I think some of these are actually laudable goals. But the challenge that we have, I think that the federal government has demonstrated itself to be pretty good at sending checks to individuals. And the evidence of that was seen during COVID and supporting people that needed support. Where the federal government has fallen short in many cases is when they've got big sums of money that they're trying to distribute. You've got a whole bunch of unspent money in the Canada Infrastructure Bank, a pretty good idea, but not very well executed. My concern about this budget, twofold. One is I don't think that there's enough emphasis on growth. It's all about taxation in order to fund these things. And the second thing is there may well be a great deal of uncertainty with respect to the ability of the federal government to implement so many different things in a wide list of 8 or 9 priorities.
Sandra Pupatello, are you at all concerned about the prospects of long-term growth in the country?
Well, I think like the finance minister, each of us in the role that we have played, we understand how important it is to move on productivity, to get companies to invest in automation, to do all the things it's going to take to move our productivity up. And I think this budget does, like it always does. It's the bones of the body, and the detail will come as Parliament resumes. Just like bills that are tabled, the detail is in the regulation. So I'm anxious to see what this new agency can do, for example, with innovation. I am interested to see how much more can we encourage our small and medium-sized companies to actually go abroad and do good work. And keep in mind, we still have challenges internationally. We've got these massive movements out there between a war in Ukraine that's causing all kinds of issues, some that our generation of people have never witnessed. We didn't live through a war. Now that with globalization, we see a greater impact to these global dynamics. And I think we need to deal with it. And I'm proud to see that this government is stepping up and actually planting a flag and saying, we've got to take on these global issues, but we've got to take care of our home front as well.
Well, can I just comment on that, if I might? What the OECD numbers show is that Canada's growth will be between 0.7 and 0.8% from 2020 to 2060. That's abysmal. And it's particularly abysmal compared to other countries that are going to do better. So there have got to be reasons for that. And we can talk about how we want to. We can be aspirational. I mean, that's great. It's good. But we've got to introduce policies that will actually achieve a better result for Canadians. And we have to reduce regulation. We have to lower taxes. And we don't have to create big bureaucracies. Can you imagine bureaucracy to create innovation? I mean, it's a contradiction in terms. What we need to do is liberate the private sector and encourage them to invest in innovation. That's how it's going to happen.
Well, Joe, I would agree. I would agree on many of your comments over these weeks, but I will say you missed one key factor, and that's jobs. And there's a reason that we need to encourage more immigration. We don't have enough people to fill the jobs that exist today in this country. And that's a good sign. And we are leading other nations on that score because we do have jobs that are going unfilled. We've got to help companies figure out what to do when you don't have enough employees. And I think the government is addressing some of those things. That's a situation that you never faced as a minister, frankly, during your term in government. We had higher unemployment. The world was a different place. And I don't think it's not a factor of blaming governments. It's government finding the wherewithal. How can they help businesses do better in this economy?
Well, that's what we're talking about, how effectively to do that. And by the way, I'm in favor of immigration, but there's a limit to how much immigration can achieve. We need to increase productivity. That is an absolutely crucial thing, a crucial task ahead. And I don't see much in the budget that addresses that issue.